It was one of those sticky summer mornings in a little dusty town down in Georgia, the kind where the air hangs heavy with humidity and the smell of pine trees mixes with fresh-baked biscuits from the corner cafe. Yeah, that's where it all kicked off for me, Sarah Jenkins, back when I was just 18, holding onto my dad's arm like it was the only solid thing in a world that kept spinning too fast. Dad, Captain Tom Jenkins, he'd come back from Iraq without his sight, courtesy of some roadside bomb that stole his eyes but not his fire. And there we were, shuffling into our favorite spot, Rosie's Diner, hoping for nothing more than eggs over easy and a quiet chat until those punk kids decided to turn our morning into a nightmare. I could feel my stomach twist right from the start, you see, because Dad wasn't just any guy. He was the one who'd rallied the local vets to fight against the neighborhood association that's been squeezing folks out of their homes for years, all in the name of beautification. That really meant bulldozing old lots for fancy condos and those teenagers. Well, they were the sons of the HOA bigwigs, harboring this twisted grudge like it was their birthright, thinking mocking a blind vet would somehow settle the score for their dad's bruised egos. We settled into our booth, Dad folding his hands real careful, his white cane propped up like a silent guard, and I ordered his usual scrambled eggs with toast, black coffee for Muhile Rosie. The waitress, who's known us forever, gave me that sympathetic smile, whispering, "Your pop's a fighter, Sarah. Don't let nobody tell you different." But then the door banged open, and in swaggered this pack of 4 or 5 boys, all cocky with their backward caps and oversized attitudes, laughing too loud about some dumb prank they'd pulled the night before, harmless at first, until one of them, this lanky kid named Jake, whose dad runs the HOA, spotted Dad's dark shades and cane, and his eyes lit up like he'd found buried treasure. "Hey, check out the zombie over there," Jake snickered, loud enough for the whole place to hear, nudging his buddy who started waving his hand in front of Dad's face, going, "Yo, Gramps, you see this? Oh wait, you can't, bummer." The others cracked up, one even stumbling around fake blind, knocking into a chair for effect, and I swear, my face burned hotter than Georgia asphalt in July. I wanted to scream, to tell them how Dad had lost his vision saving his squad, how he'd come home to a town that promised support but delivered judgment instead, especially from folks like their parents, who saw vets like him as troublemakers for pushing back on land grabs that hit the poor hardest. Dad just sat there, jaw clenched, knuckles white around his mug, not saying a word. He's always been like that, stoic as an oak tree in a storm, because he'd fought real battles and didn't want me scrapping over words, but inside, oh man, it tore him up. That humiliation digging deeper than any shrapnel ever could, reminding him of the whispers back when he first returned, folks calling him a burden because he dared to organize against the HOA's shady deals that displaced families like ours. I whispered, "Dad, we can go," my voice cracking, tears stinging. But he shook his head slow, saying quiet like, "Nah, Sarah, we stayed and give him the satisfaction." And that's when the laughter swelled, poisoning the air, the other diners shifting awkward in their seats, too scared to pipe up because, let's face it, nobody wants to tangle with the HOA kids whose dads control half the town's permits and favors. My heart pounded, rage bubbling up. Did they hate him so much? It wasn't just blindness, it was jealousy, pure and ugly, their families resenting how Dad's vet group exposed the corruption, like that time they blocked a development that would have raised the old community park, hitting the HOA wallets hard. And these boys, they were just echoing that poison, turning it into cruel sport to feel big. But fate, or maybe just good timing, had other plans. Suddenly, this deep rumble shook the windows, like thunder rolling in from nowhere, and heads whipped toward the parking lot where a convoy of gleaming Harleys pulled up, chrome flashing under the sun, and out stepped these rough-looking bikers from the local chapter, the Iron Wolves, guys with beards like steel wool, tattoos telling stories of roads less traveled, and leather vests patched with symbols of brotherhood. They'd heard the buzz around town about Dad's fights with the HOA hell. Some of them were vets themselves, quietly backing his cause because they knew what it meant to stand against bullies in suits. And now, here they were, striding in like avenging shadows, the doors swinging wide as the leader, this grizzled bear of a man named Hank with a scar across his knuckles from God knows what scrap, scanned the room, his eyes landing on Dad, then me, and finally those smirking punks. The diner went dead silent, forks clinking to a stop, and Hank stepped right up to the boys' table, boots thumping heavy, leaning in close with that gravel voice. "What's so damn funny, fellas? You picking on a man who gave his eye so you could sit here stuffing your faces in peace?" Jake tried to play it cool, chuckling nervous. "Just joking around. Man, no big deal." But Hank's face hardened, pointing at Dad. "That joke of yours? It spit on sacrifice. Kid me brother came back from Nam with nightmares that'd curl your hair, and punks like you spat on him too. Well, not today, not in this town." The boys shrank back, faces paling as Hank's words hit like punchesmia my dripping when he added, "Think you're tough mocking the blind? Try earning a patch like this." Tapping his vest, scarred from brawls defending their own against similar small-town tyrants, and then his buddy, a younger rider with a faded army tat peeking from his sleeve, chimed in low and sharp. "My old man's group got screwed by HOA crap just like this. They manipulate rules to grab land, displace folks, and you brats think it's funny to pile on? Nah, loyalty means protecting the ones who fought for all of us." I felt this rush, tears spilling now, but different relief mixed with a wee as Dad finally spoke up, voice steady as ever. "Boys, one day you'll have families, and God help you if someone treats 'em like you just did mine." His words landing heavy, no anger, just truth that made even the bikers nod respectful. The tension cracked, diners murmuring agreement. Rosie, the owner, stepping forward, eyes misty. "Tom, meals on me today." But Dad waved it off gentle. "Appreciate it, but I don't need charity, just decency." And in that moment, the boys mumbled sorries, shame twisting their features, knowing their dad's grudges had poisoned them. But maybe, just maybe, this planted a seed. Outside, as I guided Dad to the truck, the Iron Wolves lingered by their bikes, calling the kids over for one last talk. Hank laying it out plain. "You want to be men? Learn to build up, not tear down. Your folks beef with vets like him? It's about power, land grabs that hurt real people. Didn't let that rot you." And the boys nodded, one even looking like he might bawl, their cockiness gone, replaced by something raw, reflective. We drove off, Dad squeezing my hand. "You all right, kiddo?" And I nodded, voice thick. "Yeah, Dad, just. Thanks to those guys." And he chuckled soft. "Sometimes help comes roaring in on two wheels." Word spread like wildfire in our small town. Folks who'd stayed quiet before now shook their heads, admitting, "Should have spoken up." And the boys? They changed, quieter at school, one slipping me a note. "Sorry for real, tell your dad, thanks for not hating us." Dad even spoke at the community center later, sharing how humiliation hurts worse than wounds. But respect heals, and those kids showed up, apologizing face to face. "We were idiots, sir. Our dad's gripes blinded us too." And Dad just nodded. Blindness ain't permanent if you choose to see. Years on, that day still echoes for Medad's gone now. But his fight against the HOA's manipulations inspired real change, the town pushing back on those land schemes, turning parks into protected spots instead of condos. Yet, it makes you wonder, were those bikers heroes or just vigilantes stepping where law wouldn't? And the boys, did they deserve that public shaming, or was it the wake-up they needed? What about the HOA folks, hiding behind rules to grab power? Is that the real villainy? I'd love to hear your take down in the comments. Have you seen community grudges turn ugly like this? Who's right in these small-town showdowns? The underdogs fighting back or the ones enforcing order? Share your stories. Hit that like if it hit home. Subscribe for more real-life tales that remind us courage shows up in unexpected ways, and maybe drop a bell so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for listening, y'all.